Jealous women do not understand that they are playing a very dangerous game messing with you. Jealous women do not often understand that the object of their jealousy and envy is no one to play with. When women are jealous and envious of the wrong woman, the woman they underestimate, the woman who they think they can bully and take advantage of, and they mess around and find out she's not the one, suddenly they play the victim because they thought they were going to be able to play in your face, and they soon found out you were not the one. Jealous, envious women, they have a way of dealing or trying to mess with women who apparently, give off the perception of being more timid, being more calm, being more weak. They're kind of soft, maybe reserved. And because of that, a jealous, toxic woman with bully energy, she may seek to make you the target of her bullying and jealousy. But what she doesn't realize is that women like that are often reserved on purpose. They're often calm on purpose. See, women who shine the brightest, women who have the most talent, the most gifts, the most beauty, they know how to carry themselves, they know how to work with what they have, they're charming, they're appealing, they have all of these gifts. Women like that typically scale themselves back on purpose as not to outshine other women, because left to themselves, they know that they can blow them out the water. And see, jealous, envious women, they tempt the women who are more reserved to get into their lane simply because they want to have an interaction with you. And when you give them the time and you do more than what they do, you present in a way that they didn't know you could, then they fall and play the victim. They suddenly play as if you've done something wrong to them, as if you are acting in an inappropriate way. But jealous, envious women, women who seek to bully, when they underestimate the wrong one, that's when things get savage for real. They don't understand a lot of times that the women who are the most reserved, the most calm, the most kind, those are the women who were at one point not jealous, not envious, but those were the women who actually had to work to scale back their savagery. They don't understand that being soft, being kind, being feminine, a lot of women had to work up to that point. But in the beginning, they were absolute savages. And if tempted, they can go back to that. See, women who are more reserved, women who are more in their feminine and not jealous and toxic, they are natural observers, meaning they could absolutely read you for filth if they had to, but because of their classy, graceful demeanor, they often choose not to do the things that they absolutely could because they have class and decorum. But jealous, envious women, when they tempt a woman like that, they will often find out that she was not the one to mess with, because that kind of woman will typically read a jealous, envious, attempted bully for filth, and then they'll be wondering, where did that come from? It's because you cannot let looks deceive you. Jealous, envious women, women with bully energy, they let the appearance of a woman, they let the aesthetic of a woman, they let the demeanor of a woman trick them into believing they can play with her, they can tempt her, they can try to get her out of her element. And when they do that, a woman who is not naturally that way, but she absolutely can go to that level if she has to, they soon find out that she is more savage than they are. She just keeps it reserved. See, women who are classy and have decorum and have grace, women who lean more into their femininity, it often takes a level of discipline and self-control to keep yourself in that kind of way of being as a woman, especially when you have been around a lot of hyenas, a lot of ratchet, ghetto behavior, bully-minded type of women. You often have to work 10 times harder to be more classy, be more reserved, because you are surrounded by wolves. And if left to yourself, if you don't have the pull of, your morals, the Holy Spirit, your intuition, what have you, you can absolutely blow them out the water. See, jealous, envious women and women who use bullying as a defense mechanism, they use disrespect toward other women as a defense mechanism. They often do not understand that the women they are trying to one up, the women they are trying to belittle, the women who they are trying to disrespect are the very women who could absolutely destroy them. Those are the women who could absolutely destroy their relationships, destroy their careers, destroy their little self-esteem in a heartbeat, in an instant. And I know that might sound a little bit too raw, a little bit too real, a little bit too savage, but women who are feminine and operate in that queen energy, confident, high self-esteem women, they understand, once again, if left to themselves, the women who are trying to destroy them, they could absolutely destroy themselves. See, a woman who is connected with her dark feminine, she understands that while she does not like to operate from that place, she likes to take the high road. She likes to, let God fight her battles because that is what she's supposed to do. That is the classy and, just graceful way to be. But jealous, envious women are people, forget jealousy and envy, people who seek to do her harm. They don't understand that this type of woman, a woman who has sound wisdom, who gets her direction from God, a woman who at least has morals, a woman who has class and demeanor about herself, she is the type of woman that will come for you and you do not even see it coming. She is the type of woman who knows more about you than probably what you know about yourself. And it's because she is a natural observer. She is not a woman who talks so much that she just gives out all of her energy, gives out all of her business. She actually observes her surroundings. And because of that, she is able to read a lot of the people that she comes in contact with from very short interactions. She can tell whether or not she's dealing with someone who has a demonic, wants to take advantage of her kind of spirit, and she knows how to act accordingly. And women who see all these things, it's like we can see the light through the darkness. We can see through the darkness. We can see the people who mean us no good. We can see the people who are trying to play with us, and we can act accordingly. Now, depending on the day and depending on the woman you're dealing with, because I can tell you, just because a woman is feminine, just because a woman leans more into her classy side, that doesn't mean that she doesn't have time once in a while. And jealous, envious women, women who seek to play the victim when they are, when we call their bluff, when women call their bluff, they will have an issue with you because they didn't expect for you to be the woman who are going to bring them down in some way. They didn't expect for you to be the woman who was going to put them in their place. They didn't expect that you were going to be the woman that was going to humble them in some way because they looked at your sweet face, they looked at your kind demeanor, and they said, I can mess with her. I can say things to her. I can try this and try that. And they soon found out that you were a lot more dangerous than you let on. And when I say dangerous, I don't mean like you seek to do people harm, but I mean that you are the kind of woman that is not, they have this saying, uneffable with. Well, yes, you are that kind of woman. And because you don't present in that way, people often underestimate you. But now they are realizing that you're not that girl, even with all of your class, even with all of your grace, even with all of your humility, even with all of your faith and your morals and your beliefs and your boundaries. You are still not that girl to play with. And when they realize that, now you're a BI. Now you are a Twitch. Now you're all these derogatory names because simply you will not allow somebody to disrespect you and they will not go free just on to do whatever they want to do to you. See, jealous, envious women and women who have that overbearing, obnoxious kind of way about them, who look to, override the will of other women. They want to bully them and manhandle them and, give them that negative energy. When you don't stand for that kind of thing, they're not going to like you. You will be a villain. You will be the kind of woman that's looked at as if, who does she think she is? And it's simply because they thought they could play with you and they soon found out you were not the one. And I don't say that as a woman who, I don't believe that we should carry ourselves in that way where it's like, don't mess with me, that kind of thing. But ladies, you have to understand, when you're dealing with women who have that bully, toxic, overbearing energy where they always want to somehow hold you down and put you down in some way. And can I say this? A lot of times the women who act that way, they have absolutely no place or no right to say anything to anybody because their life is often in shambles. They are typically the ones whose lives are falling apart. They are typically the ones who have the most messy, sordid past, and they come for other women who are simply minding their business. So when I say that as a classy, gracious, feminine woman, but you have confidence, you have standards, you have boundaries, and you just simply do not tolerate disrespect, they play the victim with that kind of woman because they underestimated you, because they thought you were so nice, so sweet, you just let everything go, and they soon find out it's not like that. Especially, and this is just, I'm not saying this is the moral way to be. I don't even think this is the godly way to be. I'm just saying, as a human being, sometimes you feel like, as women, that you have to let people know, I'm not the one to play with. You're not going to be able to say whatever you want to say to me, especially when I know the kind of person you are. Have you ever noticed that it's always the most messiest people who say the most, who always want to, quote, put people in their place when their entire life is just a train wreck? I don't understand that line of thinking. How can somebody else's life be a train wreck and yet they always they always want to insert themselves into somebody else's business. They always want to tell somebody how to be a better person while they themselves are a horrible person. And there are people who are like that, who overlook their own filth and want to come for people who are minding their business, especially other women, simply because you are not putting up the front the way they are. Maybe you are a more genuine woman. Maybe you're a woman that doesn't need or feel the need to flex on other people. You don't feel the need to kind of prove yourself to other people all the time. And when you operate that way, you're going to have women who have an issue with the fact that you don't feel like you need to prove yourself to them. There are some women who actually want you to be vying for their attention, vying for their approval. They want you to be in awe of them, so much so that now you're trying to get in their good graces. And to that I say, who are you? Women who act that way, who act like women have to earn a right in their circle, earn a right in their, environment. They have to earn a spot in the family, earn a spot in the friendship. To those kind of women, I say, who are you? See, as confident feminine women, as I have said before, we do not beg to be at tables where people do not genuinely want us, or where people act like we have to do so much to earn their approval or to earn their acceptance in some way. If it's like that, because of the creative power and the creative energy that I believe a lot of women have on the inside of them, we can create our own communities, we can create our own opportunities, we can create our own circles of influence. We don't have to dumb down our standards or let go of our self-respect in order to be accepted by women who typically don't like us anyway. That's one thing that we do not do as confident, feminine, leveled up women. So when you understand as a woman and you wear your crown proudly, and you know that you don't have to dumb yourself down or give in to bully and toxic behavior in order to be accepted by a group of women, a group of people in general, you operate differently. And women who are jealous and toxic, who underestimated you and thought that they could play with you and belittle and put you down, suddenly they will play the victim. And you will be the villain. And you have to become accustomed to that. It's always the quiet ones. It's always the kind ones. It's always the sweet ones who are often taken advantage of and looked at as if, yeah, you can just play with them. But soon people realize those type of people are often the ones who have that hidden savagery, and if left to themselves, they can absolutely destroy them. And I don't say in a physical way, even though that might be included. This might be a little bit too deep for some people to accept or understand. But it's often the women who are not looking for problems, not looking for issues. They are typically the one that have no problem completing the issues. So as women, make sure that in order to avoid being tempted to be an absolute savage when we are not that, we don't operate in that way. But I'll be honest, jealous, envious women, women who are bullies, they can tempt you and trigger you to go back or to tap in to savagery, to leak into that dark feminine way of being where you are now being just as ruthless as them. And the crazy thing about it is that for a lot of women, especially women who are in their femininity and their dark feminine, it can come easy to be an absolute savage in a classic, beautiful way. And we do not want to tempt ourselves or allow people to tempt us to get into that way of being. So as confident feminine women, it is important that you protect yourself from those people who underestimate you and don't allow them to get you into that savage way of being. See, as I said before, a lot of women deliberately scale themselves back in the area of beauty, in the area of their charm, and the way they interact with different people. They typically scale themselves back around certain women, all because, we're trying to shield their feelings. And that's why sometimes I say, as women, you can't worry about how somebody else feels if you have to dumb yourself down and somehow stay reserved in order for somebody to feel good about themselves, especially jealous, toxic women. If you can only be in the circle as long as you're not being seen, if you can only be in the circle as long as you're not saying too much, if you can only be in the circle as long as you're not talking to any men, you're not, not that you try to get attention from men, but you have some women, they get so upset when another woman gets attention from a man that they take issue with you. So you might find yourself trying to deliberately be that friend in the group who, no, I don't want to talk to any man. No, they can do that, simply because so-and-so is going to have an issue with it if you get that attention that you typically get. Those kind of dynamics with women is very toxic. It's very, it's very sad. And that's the reason why a lot of women choose to stay by themselves and not be a part of these different friend groups and things, because who has time for that? And who has time to be tempted to tap into the dark feminine? Nobody wants that. And whether you say dark feminine or just in that more assertive way of being as a woman, that queen energy, nobody wants to have to tap into that in order to defend themselves. And this is a telltale sign that you probably shouldn't be around a group of women if you feel like you're always in defense mode. If you always feel like you have to be ready to defend yourself at any moment, those are women that you typically should not be around. Any woman that you're around that's going to bring out your defenses and feel like you have to feel guarded and shielded, not just women, but people in general. People who make you feel unsafe, those are not people you need to be around. People who are going to bring the absolute worst out of you, those are people that you do not need to be around. So as leveled up, confident women, there are going to be times where some women will try to tempt you to be in that savagery and that dark feminine. They're going to try to tempt you and provoke you to be just like them. And I say don't allow them to do it, but sometimes they do have to mess around and find out. And if you have that kind of time, hey, so be it. But I say jealous, envious women, they're walking a very dangerous line when they underestimate the woman who is the object of their bullying, jealousy, and envy, when they don't realize that that woman, she's reformed. So that doesn't mean it's not still there. It just means she doesn't operate in her savagery. They have to be very careful. All right? Like and subscribe to the channel and share this content. Hit the notification bell so that you're aware when I post a brand new video. If you watch this video until the very end, put the high heel emoji in the comment section. I absolutely love to see it. Take care.